Hi there and welcome to Magic. I created this entire web application in less than 1 minute. But before we look at how, let's see what we can do with this web application. Logging in, and here we have a menu. I can edit my account types, can view them, the details of them, I can edit them, save them, can create new account types, and I can delete, etc. And I can do the same for every single object I have here in my menu. So as you can see, it's not entirely perfect. There are some alignment issues here, etc. However, it's basically a complete web application. It's wrapping a MySQL database, and it's an Angular frontend, and it's a .NET Core backend. And I created the application in less than 1 minute. The entirety of the application. It's frontend, it's backend, it's everything, literally. So you can see here, we can filter, we can sort, descending and ascending, we can page, we can change the size of our pages, we can create new items, and we can delete existing items. So, and in addition, I can create new users here, can create new roles. If I want to have a new user, foo, then I can assign roles to that user according to what roles I happen to have in my system, and so on. And I can log out and I can log in. Of course, the foo user doesn't have access to anything. So, how did I create this web app? This is the Magic dashboard. Everything happens from here. Now, in order to create my application, I first need to create its backend. I do that by clicking the crudify menu. From the crudify module, I can select my database type, being either MySQL or Microsoft SQL Server. I'm going to choose MySQL. Then I'm going to select my database. Now the database I want to create a web app for is called magic_CRM. From here, I can select either one table at a time, or I can select all tables. Then when I click crudify, the system automatically creates my backend, and my backend is now done. Afterwards, I can go to my endpoints, and it's going to list every single HTTP REST endpoint I happen to have in my system. From here, I can name my app Magic CRM. Then when I click generate, I'm given a zip file containing my Angular frontend code. And I'm now done creating the code for my web app. When I have downloaded my zip file containing my Angular frontend code, then all I really need to do is to first unzip it. Then open a terminal window. Then I go to where I unzipped my zip file. Then I enter the folder. As we can see here now, contains my Angular frontend code. Then I have to do npm space link. This links in Angular. When npm link is done executing, you can type ng serve. This is going to compile my Angular frontend. When it is done compiling, I can open up Google Chrome, for instance, and go to localhost colon 4200. To get started with Magic, we first need to download it. Open up your browser of choice. I'm going to be using Chrome. Then go to github.com/polterguy /magic. There's a link in the description of this YouTube video to this URL. Then click releases, and then make sure you download the zip file for the source code for the latest version of Magic. Then when it's done, you can quit Google Chrome or your browser. Now we're going to need to unzip the file we just downloaded. Then we're going to need a terminal window or a command window on Windows. Then change your directory to where you downloaded Magic. You can also, of course, use Visual Studio. So you can see here now, I'm in the main root folder of my unzipped Magic folder. Then I'm going to change my directory to the magic.backend folder. From this folder, I'm going to type .NET run. This starts my backend. Then we're going to need another terminal window to start our front end. Go to the main Magic folder. But this time, we're going to go into the front end folder. So I'm going to type cd front end. From here, I'm going to have to link in all node modules. So I'm going to type npm link. This will link in stuff like Angular, etc. When npm link is done executing, type ng serve. When your Angular frontend is compiled, you can open up your browser of choice and go to localhost :4200. When you enter Magic for the first time, it will look like this. Log in with username root and password root. Then the system is going to warn you that you're going to have to secure your system in the setup module. Okay, let's go to setup. Let's choose our database type. I'm going to be using MySQL, but you can use SQL Server too. And at this point, you'll probably have to change this part, or possibly this part if you're using SQL Server. These are the connection strings to my database. Now for me, this happens to be my database password. So I can simply type in a new password for my root user account, and then I can click setup. And Magic has now been successfully set up. Now I have to log in again because my password changed. And then I have started Magic. And from here I can go to the crudify menu. I can start crudifying my databases. The first database I want to crudify is the magic_auth database. Without crudifying this database, then my users and my roles menu up here will not work, and the auth menu item in my resulting Angular front-end web applications will neither work. So you're going to have to do this first. Now, Magic automatically creates this database for you, either inside of SQL Server or inside of MySQL, depending upon what database type you choose as you set up your system. Now, I want to emphasize that as you're crudifying your database, you can also specifically choose one database table, and you can override, you can provide log entries, you can provide authorization for users that are allowed to access this endpoint, etc., etc. I can also provide a cache, and I can also provide a validator, a transformer, or an injectable. For instance, if I want to have a validator for the name field for my roles table here, I can choose add here and choose any validator I wish. Typically, for instance, when I'm crudifying my users table, for instance, I might want to make sure that only emails are applied as new usernames. Well, if I want to do that, choose the validators.email here, okay, and then I crudify my users table afterwards. Now, of course, I have to overwrite because this endpoint already exists. If I now go to my endpoint now, for instance, and I find users, and then I find the get or the post endpoint here, and I try to add a username who's not an email, then the system is going to reject my insert. If I provide a valid email address, however, then it's going to happily accept it. And that is Magic. There's a link in the description of this YouTube video from where you can download Magic. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.